Hi. So really, really great talking to you. First of all, congratulations on season three launching yesterday. How does it feel?
It's great. It's really surreal. It's kind of strange, obviously, because the show came out when it was 3 a.m. here. So I was dead
Um,
asleep.
I
Um,
was gonna say, did you stay up?
but I woke up to like loads of people being like, "Hey, amazing! Like, congrats!" And I was like, "That was really sweet." But it's just that's going to be the case every Thursday now. It's like it's going to come out in the middle of the night.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna dive into a little bit about you first, then we'll talk a little bit about the show, and then we'll do like some light, light questions.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit about your rise to fame and like what was like the journey like to this breakout role. And then like, some of what are some of those challenges and opportunities that kind of like led to like where you are now.
It's such an interesting one because I'm 24 now and I've been acting since I was about 17.
Nice.
So in terms of like me getting this job, it was a very quick turnaround. I started out singing. I thought I was going to be a musical theatre girl. That was my love, my first love. And then as time went on, I evolved more so into acting. And when I was 18, I got the opportunity to be signed to a really great agency in London, and kind of my world were opened up in the idea that this was a possibility and it wasn't just something that I could, because beforehand I had no real idea of how actors became actors. I just thought they showed up on my television. So once I kind of just learned about it and I got the opportunity to be like, hey, do you want to come on and start go to auditions and things like that? I was like, oh my God, amazing, perfect. And so then whilst I was auditioning from about 18 to 22, I was working in film instead, and I was a prop buyer,
Oh,
which
nice.
is really niche. It brought the opportunity to understand like a 360 of the industry, while still trying to act. But that just unfortunately wasn't necessarily going in the way that I wanted it to.
Yeah.
I was still getting like I was still getting like small jobs, and I was growing as an actor, and learning about like how to go about it. And so then I was like, I'm gonna audition for drama school. If I get in, I only auditioned for one. It's called the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama. It's a great school. If I get in, then it's a sign I'm meant to go, and this is what I'm meant to be doing. But if I don't, then it's like potentially look at other ideas.
Got
Um,
it.
and after like 5 rounds, got in, and it was
Um,
brilliant, and it changed my life completely, just because I got to go and do what I loved every day. I got to be surrounded. Was surrounded by like-minded people of all age groups. Like I had a 53-year-old cab driver in my class, like it was amazing.
so what do you feel has been, I know it's very early in your career, but what do you feel has been your biggest accomplishment thus far?
I think there's a few that stand out for me. I um well, one was definitely getting signed to my agency out of drama school.
Nice.
And just because it was again confirmation that this is what you're meant to do. I worked really hard to be seen by people and be taken seriously, and to get into the rooms and even just to have the conversations of like, hey, this is what I want. I believe in myself enough to like put my cards down and reveal myself.
Yeah.
And someone being like, yeah, yeah, I see that for you as well, and I believe in you, and I want to put you in those rooms. That's amazing. And I remember getting the call um from my agent Alex, who's amazing, to be like, hey, we want to sign you. And I got it in a lift. And I was in a lift with three guys, and it was tiny. She was like, hey, like it was amazing meeting you. Like, I'd love to sign you. And I screamed, like I fully went, "Ah," and everyone like turned to me and was like, are you okay? Like, are you all right? And I went, oh my God, I'm so fine. Like, so sorry. Like, something's actually really good news. It's really good news. And I started like sobbing my eyes out. And they honestly I think they thought I was like having a manic episode.
Hey, listen, I'm just a girl. What would you say was inspiring you and continuing to motivate you to continue to pursue? Like you talked about like just now, like if you got in, like that would be a sign that this was meant to be. So like what were some of the things like along the way that kind of like inspired you to keep going?
Quite honestly, I know it's a cliche answer, but my parents.
It's good.
This, uh, yeah, trying to act or to a level of just like being able to buy myself a coffee and a tea, like
Yeah.
it, it's hard and demotivating when it isn't going the way you want, and the way like you're putting in all this effort and it's just not happening. And I've always been very conscious, like I said earlier, of having an idea of maybe a backup plan or something like that.
Yeah.
My parents every single time are like, no, no, you don't need a plan B. Like this is your plan A, and this the plan A is going to work. And
That's
I feel
so
like if I didn't have somebody like that holding my hand and actually being like, no, no, you're good enough,
mm,
I definitely wouldn't be in this position at all. I think I would have given up.
that's so amazing.
I'm so grateful to them because they never made me feel like anything was too big or that I was too small for anything, you know? And I think it's very rare to have somebody in your life, two people in your life that are pushing you more
Yeah.
so and have more belief in you than you might do for yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I'm eternally grateful for that.
So like what would you say like inspires you to accept a role? Like the roles you've played thus far, what do you feel like has inspired you to take like the role in Trauma, the role in Diary of a Ghost? Like what were some of the things? Was it the character? Was it the script? Was it the who the director was? Like what are some of those things that inspire you to take a role?
I've had great parts, but they have been on a smaller scale. And
Mhm.
I'm really happy that that's been the case because I feel like if I, especially at that age, like I started when I was 18, to walk
Mhm.
onto a set and have that pressure of like, this is your set, you need to, like, you're one of the mains, like, I think I would have crumbled entirely. But instead,
Mhm.
I was working along, like, for example, I worked with Stephen Graham, who I absolutely adore. And I worked with John Sims, and I have a memory being in a freezing cold church running lines with John Sims, and he was like getting really frustrated about the speech he was doing, and I was like, little old me, like, hey, like, do you want some help? And he's like, yeah, yeah, I actually really would. And I just like, I think I had one scene with him or something, but that memory was ingrained in my head of like,
Yeah.
this is who I want to be.
Nice.
Um, and it was incredible. But I think, yeah, up until Sex Lives, I was just trying to get a job, honestly. Um,
Mm.
I haven't been in a position where I can think about whether it's like something I
To
want to
pick and
do.
choose. Yeah.
Exactly. But every role that I've had, I'm eternally grateful for, especially this one. Like I think, well, actually, to be fair, Diary of a Ghost I did was a short film that I did last year. And I spoke to Carrie, our amazing director, after because she kept emailing me being like, hey, I really want you to audition for Haley. I really want you to audition for Haley. I met her really randomly at this like magazine launch where she was the photographer, and we were just chatting, and we swapped emails, and she was like, hey, I've got this character, I really want you to read for her. And there was a reason why I wasn't able to read for her for like 3 months or something.
Oh wow.
Um, but she kept pestering, and I was like, right, okay, let me just do it. And she called me like straight after I sent it. She was like, thank God, because I know you were her. She was like, I wrote this part for you. And I was like, what?
That's
And she's
so
like, I
good.
didn't want to tell you that because I didn't want to put that pressure on you. But she's like, Jesus, thank you. Like, you got it.
What would you say is like the mind shift from uh like more of those like serious roles to being Taylor in Sex Lives?
With Sex Lives, obviously, it's an incredibly funny show. The
Yeah.
comedy is brilliant. The writing is brilliant. And
And it's brilliant with like
oh my
just
God,
having developed this. Yeah.
it's amazing. And she constantly is creating and developing shows about women, for women, empowering women, and being like,
Yeah.
no, 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 funny. Like, I think that's such a sad, um, there's such a sad idea that women aren't, you know? And it's like, no, no, we're pushing that boat
She's
out.
and she's a powerhouse. I've been in a few rooms with her.
Mhm.
Most recently, like a Dropbox. It was like work in progress Dropbox, and she was like the keynote speaker. And she's just so like the things that come out of her mouth, the way she's inspiring. She's really brilliant, and she's really about pushing forward like people and giving people a platform. So I love that.
Yeah, I agree. And so to be able to be part of that is
Yeah.
just remarkable and something that I would never have been able to imagined for myself at this point or at the point beforehand.
Yeah.
Uh, I think because I trained as a theatre actor, that was always where my love lay. And um there is a massive shift between doing like a drama and a comedy. But I
Mhm.
kept getting roles that were comedy. So like I did a show called Defending the Guilty, was a big comedy in the UK, was for BBC. And I remember doing the audition and the whole room just laughing loads, just like really, really laughing. And for some reason I was surprised. I was like, why? Like in the moment, I was like, why are you laughing? And then afterwards, I went, oh my God, Mia, because it's funny. You were being funny. Like, and I was like, oh wait, maybe this is something that is a strength of mine. Um,
Mm.
and I noticed a pattern of like that would be something that I would shows like that I would get recalls for. And so I was like, okay, maybe this is my comedic timing isn't so bad. And so then when I got Sex Lives, again, it was one of those things of, wait, why are they laughing? Oh, wait, it's funny. Yes, I'm doing it in the way that they maybe imagined, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the show, whilst, yeah, obviously it pushes the comedy, it's very well balanced.
Yeah.
It's topics that of your sexuality, you know, alcoholism, just moments in young adult life where you're learning and you're growing and you're coming into your own and you're becoming
Yeah.
an adult. And it's amazing that those topics can be facilitated through a lighter, maybe
Like
language.
relief. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but it still is very well balanced and it's like it shows both sides. And especially I think with Taylor, that's seen a lot because her kind of persona initially is very harsh, a bit more prickly, a bit more on the defense, you know, very sarcastic, which is great. But whilst you have that kind of moodier side,
Mhm.
there's moments, especially like with Bella, where she opens up and she has a laugh and you register, oh, wait, you know, she's just a young 18-year-old girl at college just trying to
Mm.
like,
Yeah, make it.
you know, exactly.
So how different are you personally from Taylor?
Oh gosh, I think, well, apart from being British, obviously, um, um, we're very similar and very different in a lot of ways. I think Taylor, like I said, she enters situations on the defense and kind of is very untrusting of people. Like, why are you talking to me? What do you want to gain? All that jazz. But for me, as Mia, I walk into a room and assume everyone's in love and like everyone's gonna be best friends. And so we have a very different approach. But I do think we're both quite strong-minded people and like and quite opinionated, and that can both get us in a bit of trouble sometimes. But I think how I vocalize things is much softer than how she does it.
Mm.
But I think there's places for both of that. So I learned a lot also just playing her, just like
Yeah,
about boundaries and my own boundaries, you know, like not giving too much energy to people that don't need it or I don't get it in return.
that's a good one. And so, without giving too much away for those who might read this prior to watching the season, like
Mhm.
what can we expect from season 3?
A beautiful roller coaster. Well, obviously, last season there was a lot of chaos. Things
Yeah.
happened ended on quite a high note, and so there's a lot of resolution and forgiveness and understanding and growth. Like the girls are older now. I think in terms of myself and Casey coming in, you know, it's a real reflection on actual college life, you know, that friends come and go and then and you there's a new energy in town, I'd say.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, it's really exciting. It's just funny and empowering and brilliant and I'm excited for everyone to see it.
How important is it for you to show up in sort of like these coming of age type of movies or films? Especially with like in the wake of like the way, not to get too deep into politics, but the way American politics is and, how it's often trying to dictate things to young women prior
Yeah.
to them even having the opportunity to discover and explore. How important is that for you to show up in like these types of films and be a voice like within that world?
I think with Taylor, I want people to be able to be like, okay, she's going through this, I've experienced this, and this is how she's handling it and vocalizing it and or feeling and or breaking down or whatever. That's exactly how I felt, or I didn't realize I felt that way until I saw this. To be able to, you know, hold someone's hand and be like, it's okay, we're
Right.
together. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And like helping them like triage their own emotions and feelings as they're going through something. Right.
Exactly. So I hope that's what people take away from this series and from my character. And that, you know, I'm always, like I said earlier, Mindy creates these spaces where it is very women focused, but in the way of like uplifting us and recognizing our worth. And I think that's really important.
Well, that's the end of the interview. Thank you so much, Mia. Congratulations on all your success. This
Thank
is,
you.
you know, just the beginning. You'll have many, many interviews and many, many different answers. And I am grateful to have been in the beginning of your journey. This is amazing.
Oh,
Happy for
thanks so much. That means a lot. I've really, really enjoyed this interview. I think your questions were absolutely amazing and very thought-provoking.
Thank you.